You're a racist, ignorant, uneducated, trailer trash, white trash piece of shit is what you are. You just proved it in this conversation. Go yourself and have a nice day. I was in one of those X spaces the other day. And I joined my friend, Pam Hemphill. She is my friend. She went to jail for her actions on January 6th. She's owned it. And in return, she has turned on MAGA, turned on Donald Trump. She speaks truth to power, and I appreciate Pam for doing that. She made a mistake. So she invited me to a MAGA space. And the guy that was in, well, it wasn't really a MAGA space. I shouldn't characterize it as that. It was an X space with Pam and a few Proud Boy members that were not happy with her. So one of the guys who entered this X space, his name is Jonathan Munafo. He's 36 years old out of Albany, New York. I want you to play this short, my producer is going to play this short video clip from a local news station talking about this guy that I got into it with. He beat police officers on January 6th, and he was one of the people that were pardoned. Have a listen to him, a little bit of background on this lunatic before we continue.
New developments at noon. A man identified as one of the 10 most wanted after the Capitol riot has agreed to a plea deal. Jonathan Munafo was arrested here in Orlando in April of 2021. FBI agents say he was caught on video hitting a Capitol police officer in the head and taking the officer's shield. They say he was also seen trying to break a window of the Capitol with a wooden flagpole. Munafo was set to appear in court on Friday for a status hearing, but court records show that hearing has now been rescheduled to April as a plea hearing.
Okay, so absolute scumbag. I think we all could. A guy who beat police officers on January 6th, a guy who was charged with assaulting, resisting, and impeding certain officers, and civil disorder. So, terrible guy, right? I think we all could agree. Horrible guy. He probably still belongs in jail. And he was one of those people that was pardoned on January 6th. So when I saw him in this space, he was attacking Pam Hemphill. I put an end to that really fast. And I showed you how stupid this guy is and so many of these others on January 6th. So this is me getting into it with Jonathan Munafo. He swore constantly, by the way. And I proved to him, because he's so stupid, what a racist he is, based on his own answers that he gave me. It's mesmerizing to me. It really is absolutely mesmerizing to me, and it's crazy at the same time. So I want to play for you the audio. This is the audio of the X space and me getting into it with this January 6th insurrectionist, Jonathan Munafo, who beat cops on January 6th. Have a listen to this. Jonathan, can you name me some policies under Donald Trump here in the last 8 weeks or so that you think are great policies? Like, give me a couple.
His release of the January 6th prisoners.
Okay,
like
so let's talk. Gotcha.
Great policy.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's talk about that. So in this country, if you beat a police officer, you think it's good policy to not put those people in prison?
Officers
in general,
were actively engaged in attacking people in the crowd. No, you're interrupting.
Jonathan,
you're not letting me speak. So if you're not going to let me speak, go f yourself.
Okay, so you're not answering the question. You're deflecting. I asked you a very generic thing, not about January 6th. So I need you to focus. It's not about your specific case. I need. So John.
Warning.
Yeah, and Jonathan, don't swear at me either, okay, pal? So here you go. Here's a very generic question. I need you to listen to the question, Jonathan. That's the problem. You're so angry. I need you to pay attention. In general, if you beat a police officer in this country, the evidence shows that you beat a police officer. You plead guilty to beating a police officer because there's evidence and you have your day in court to defend yourself, and you plead guilty to battery and assault on a cop. Are you okay in general with people like that being pardoned? It's a very simple question.
It really is, but it's a nuanced position because the majority of January 6ers were not just
talking about not talking. No, I need you to.
You're not even going to let me speak. You're not even going to let me speak.
Because you're not. The question has nothing to do with January 6th. I'm now going to ask it for a third time.
Well, listen, we're obviously talking about January 6th. So let me.
No, we're not.
No,
I'm giving you a generic question. I need to.
No, you're going to just keep interrupting.
Because it's not. because the
You want
answer
the
has
answer
nothing
or
to
not?
do. The question had nothing to do with January 6th, and you keep bringing it up in the first sentence. So I'm going to try one more time to ask you this question. The question has nothing to do with January 6th. It's a very general, generic question. So I'm going to try one more time with you, and this will be the last time. In general, in this country, if you beat a police officer, if there's video and direct evidence, and the person who's guilty of it admits to it, and pleads guilty in court, even though they had the opportunity to defend themselves in a courtroom in general terms, do you think that person should be pardoned? And that question has nothing to do with January 6th. It's just a general question which you're struggling to answer. So go ahead for the third time. Go ahead.
So you want a yes or no answer to a question that is obviously about January 6th, but I'll give you the yes or no answer. I think it's nuanced. Yes, I do agree with the pardons.
Okay, so he finally gave me an answer. And the reason why I didn't bring up January 6th, because, he's going to be defensive because it's his own case and he beat police officers and he was pardoned. And he pled guilty, by the way. All right. So here's where I get him. By the way, his answer there is completely absurd. I think we all could agree. Anybody who beats a police officer, doesn't matter where or how, and you plead guilty and there's evidence that you beat a cop, you should be in jail for a very long time. Obviously, this idiot did that. He beat a cop. He punched a cop in the face on January 6th. So, of course, he's going to make the idiotic claim that, yeah, if you beat police officers in general, yes, you shouldn't go to jail. You should be pardoned. Here's where I get him, and he's so stupid. Here's where you can pin these white supremacist proud boy morons in a corner. Listen to the next question that I ask him. Got you. So in this country, if you beat a police officer, you're okay with anybody being pardoned. So if somebody beat a cop during the Black Lives Matter protest, you would also be okay with them being pardoned as well? So if Joe Biden decided to pardon a bunch of African Americans,
wasn't about January 6th. You're deflecting.
No, I said Black Lives Matter. I didn't bring up January 6th. So I need you to pay attention. Get the MAGA wax out of your ears, and I need you to pay attention to the words that I'm using. I didn't mention January 6th. Pay attention. I mentioned Black Lives Matter, something that you guys talk about a lot. So my question to you is as follows. Pay attention, my friend. In a Black Lives Matter protest, if a black person beat a police officer and was sent to jail, would you be okay with those people being pardoned as well? It's a very specific question that has nothing to do with January 6th.
It's obvious what you're doing.
No, answer the question, please.
Does it have to be a black person? Why is it a black
I will
person
ask it.
specifically?
I will ask it now for the
Rephrase your
second
question
time.
so it doesn't have a racial.
Okay. Hold on. Nope. I'm going to ask it now again. Every question I ask, it seems like I have to ask it like 3 times, but that's okay.
Because you're obviously trying to maneuver your question to put it in the framework or context of a specific idea.
Okay. No, it's not a specific ideology. It's a very basic question. And if you were smart enough to understand, you'd know I'm trying to find some consistency, which clearly you don't have. But that's okay. I'll ask a very direct question again. I'll repeat it for you because sometimes people like you need it repeated 3 or 4 times. So that's okay. You just made a blatant statement and said if you beat cops in this country, you're okay with pardons. Your answer was yes. Okay. So going by your own standard, if you're an African American who beat a cop, white or black, during Black Lives Matter protests, let's just say hypothetically speaking, a black person at a Black Lives Matter protest who beat a white police officer. For the record, by the way, I'm not okay with pardoning anybody who beats cops, but I want to see if you're consistent. If you're a black person who beat a white cop during a Black Lives Matter protest, Jonathan, as a Proud Boy member, would you be okay with that pardon? Going by your own standards, would you be okay with that? That's now the 3rd time I've asked the question. It's a yes or no answer.
No.
Okay, so
there you go.
What Jonathan...
So there you go. Now I'm going to play another few minutes of this, but this guy, and by the way, this conversation just happened the other day. Here's a guy who just said he's okay with, pardons for people who beat police officers. But when it comes to a Black Lives Matter protest and hypothetically speaking, a black person that beats a cop, he's not okay with that pardon. So clearly he just showed he's a bigot, he's a racist, which probably we already knew. And here's where he gets so upset at me for exposing him for it.
Question. It's a yes or no answer.
No.
Okay, so What Jonathan has proven, and I'm so glad that Jonathan answered those questions. So if a black person beats a white cop on a Black Lives Matter protest, he's not okay with a pardon. But if a white supremacist, or in this case, a Proud Boy member, beats a cop on January 6th, he's totally okay with those pardons.
Jonathan, you have just
January 6th. No, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet.
Everyone in this room, so
mute. Jonathan, you dug your own. Jonathan, you're going to be dropped.
You're a loser.
You're going to be dropped. You're going to be dropped. I'm a loser because I just proved that you're a white supremacist. You see, so Jonathan, and I haven't called you any names, but Jonathan has just proven to all of us in this room that if a black person beats a white cop on a Black Lives Matter protest, he's not okay with pardoning those people.
But you said January 6th, it wasn't about January 6th. It's a generic question.
Mr. White Supremacist, just hang on. I'm almost done making my point, and then I'm sure you'll say some very intelligent things.
You're a liar.
But Jonathan,
you're a liar.
Jonathan just said, I'm just going to repeat it just so everyone can hear it, because maybe some people didn't hear. If a black person beats a white cop during a Black Lives Matter protest, Jonathan is not, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. That means you be quiet. He says no pardon, like he just said. Right. We got Jonathan, I think we all understand, okay? But if you're a white person who beats a cop, hey, Jonathan, I'm not done yet, okay? I'm talking now. I know it gets you angry that I just proved that you're a racist moron, but I'm just making the point here, okay?
The Proud Boys are run by a black guy. How can we be racist?
By the way, Enrique Tarrio is not black, okay? That's number one. He did my show, and I know Enrique, and you're a moron. But we've all proven, and Jonathan has just proven, that if you're somebody white who beat a cop on January 6th, that's okay. But if you're black and you beat a cop during a Black Lives Matter,
you're a liar.
If you're black, Jonathan just said, okay, so Jonathan, I'll give you the opportunity.
You're a liar. You said it wasn't about January 6th.
Jonathan,
in general, be truthful with your people.
Jonathan, you're obviously not very bright, but that's okay. I deal with people like you all the time. So tell me where I'm lying here, okay? I'm going to say something, so give me 20 seconds to say it without interrupting me, and then I want to give you the opportunity to tell me where I'm lying. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so here we go, Jonathan. I need you to listen for 20 seconds, and then I'll stop talking. Okay, Jonathan, tell me where I lied. Jonathan just said that if you're a black person who beats a cop during a Black Lives Matter protest, he's not okay with a pardon. However, he also said that if you're a white person who beat a cop on January 6th, that you should be pardoned. Jonathan, where am I lying? Is that not your opinion? Did I get your opinion wrong, Jonathan?
You've absolutely twisted what you asked originally. You said it was not about January 6th. You've proven yourself have a great day, dude. You're a total
I think you proved.
Time. Appreciate you.
We just proved that you're a racist. You ate your own words. You just said everyone on January 6th should get a pardon, including those who beat police officers. That is your opinion. You made a blatant statement. Absolutely.
And it happened.
Of course. But yet if you're a black person who beat a cop during Black Lives Matter protest, you're not okay with those pardons, which proves that you are a racist.
Can I answer why?
No, I don't care. You're a racist piece of shit. That's why.
You do care.
You
don't
are a
hear
racist piece of. That's what you are. You are a racist. You are a bigot, and you belong behind bars. Good luck at your Klan rally tonight, Jonathan. You are a racist bigot.
I'm a free man,
you are. I don't care whether you're free. You're a racist.
I'm a free man.
You're a racist, ignorant, uneducated, trailer trash, white trash piece of shit is what you are. You just proved it in this conversation. Go yourself and have a nice day.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. That's how the conversation ended, and then they dropped him. And there were a lot of people in there listening, and nobody interrupted, to their credit, and they were just listening. So this is obviously somebody who wasn't even smart enough to understand that I was pinning him in a corner. And he admitted that if you're a black person who beat a cop during Black Lives Matter protest, you should go to jail and you shouldn't be pardoned. But if you're a white person, and then his excuse was, you said you weren't going to bring up January 6th. By the way, how about that guy's voice? He sounded a little bit like Ben Shapiro. What a weasel. You said you weren't going to bring up January 6th. You're a liar. You're a liar. Let me repeat once again. That's the guy who assaulted cops. He resisted. He was charged with 2 felony counts, civil disorder, and he went to jail. And the only reason why he's out is because Donald Trump decided to pardon him. Really good people. What a little weasel that guy was. Oh, my gosh. So that's how that conversation went down. And Jonathan, not a very intelligent person. shouldn't be out in public, certainly is a danger to society. But again, he's so stupid, he didn't even realize his own words prove that he is a racist, bigoted piece of human garbage. And I stand by everything that I have said about him.